All right, we are live. Camera is on you, Trace, but your camera's off, so take it away.
For me personally, I have such a hard time. My wife is good about saying, "This is marketing." Or you're putting your brand out there, and it's not a one-to-one correlation like a sales. Right? So we went to Eagle Mountain over the weekend, and they had Halloween Town. They had 2,000 people there, and so free. I had a 10 by 10 booth, and we dressed up in Halloween stuff and gave out uh, loan information and free cookies. And we finished, and she's like, "How do you think it went?" I was like, "It was okay." Because it's not like someone was like, "Hey, this is great, I want a loan." It was, are you looking to be a move-up buyer, or are you looking to be a first-time buyer? And it was difficult. So I'm curious, especially for you there, what are your thoughts on marketing versus sales, especially when things get skinny? I mean, we're coming into the skinny time. And I'm trying to focus on that. Like every year at Halloween, I start freaking out because the volume starts going down. It's
yeah, it's true. No, I agree with you, and it's kind of a long-term thing as far as, the marketing pays off eventually if you're consistent with it. But on the other hand, I walk into offices and, just being there, all of a sudden there'll be an agent that has a deal going south, and they'll say, "Hey, can you help me with this?" So my experience is if I'm out making the rounds, I usually come back with a loan.
Yeah. Well, and I can guarantee if you're sitting here, you're not getting any loans.
Right. Yeah.
100%
right.
sure.
Yeah.
If you're out there, at least putting the effort.
Yeah.
In.
Exactly. And you ask that question when you're talking to people. Do you have any deals that you want me to look at or whatever?
I think that is also the key.
Yeah.
You
have to open up your mouth and you have to say the words.
Do you have a deal?
Yeah, do you have a deal? Because if you don't ask for the business, if you don't try to close the sale, it's not going to happen. So one of the things that, so we worked with Zane on uh, campaigns. They have all kinds of campaigns, fishing poles. On the internet world, they're called funnels, and they're just ways of getting big swaths of people and then just narrowing them down to buyers and stuff. So one of the ones that we just recently came up with, and I was like, I don't know why I didn't think of this 25 years ago. It's a great idea. It's a second opinion campaign. Okay, so it's a second opinion campaign, and it goes. So second opinion campaign will work like this. If you were going to get open heart surgery and it was really complicated, you get a second medical opinion. Okay, you get second opinions for basically three things: medical, legal, financial. So if you were doing this for open heart surgery, you get a second opinion. If you were on trial for murder or you're having something really kids were taken away, let's say, you get an attorney and get a second opinion type thing here. You're going to buy the biggest thing you ever bought. You're going to buy a house. You're going to spend somewhere between $250,000 and $1 million in most cases. And you need to get a second opinion, I think, here. So this is one of these things that I'm hoping that we're going to we're talking about preferred lenders, in-house lenders with the builders, whatever it is, to get a second opinion. Now, occasionally, you're up against, there's this incentive that the builders give me, okay? And the realtor, if they're in your corner, will fight for you a lot of times, but they will go back and say, look, if this lender can do what your lender can't do, you still have to give the incentive because your lender can't do it. I mean, that's exactly what happened with Paul. So Paul was offered what, like $4,000, something like that here. And he basically said, his lender or the builder's lender was making him pay off like a car and pay down $25,000.
Yeah, we can do this program if you pay down $40,000 in debt. I'm like, just put more debt down on the house.
I got him a zero
Yeah.
down with no MI, and there's a couple of, it was a little swanky deal. I mean, the disparity was night and day. So I went back and said, look, I'm not going to take a crappy deal to get $4,000. You offered it to use your lender can't do it, I still want it. And they got it here. So we're in the process of putting together this second opinion campaign to go out there and say, look, so what I'd like to do is I'd like to start educating the consumer and the realtor and say, look, there are more than just one way to, do a loan.
Yeah.
And more importantly, the first opinion isn't always the right one. It could be. And I always tell people, look, my goal is to help you get the best cost of borrowing money possible. And there's a lot of ways to do a loan, but the right way always it's a lot of moving parts. Takes into account your long and short-term financial goals, your payment, equity objective, tax consequences, insurance needs. There's so many things out there that you want to get right. And one of the examples I give to people is I say, look, I'm doing my own loan about 5 years ago, and I'm thinking in my mind, oh, the insurance quote's going to come back about $500-$600 a year, because I give this guy a lot of business. So I asked him, so he sends me this quote, and it's $1,000. I was like, I was actually getting a buddy deal for this guy or something. So I called him up and I said, why is it so expensive? He goes, well, it's the replacement cost of the house. I said, look, I got a $300,000 house. I got about $100,000 of dirt, about $200,000 a house. I said, I don't want to insure the dirt. No one's going to steal the dirt. No one's going to burn the dirt down. I said, the replacement cost shouldn't insure dirt. And I'm not paying for it. He goes, oh, yeah. Okay, let me go rerun the numbers here. It comes back, and it's like $550. Kind of exactly what I thought here. But my first thought that I came up to with is how many insurance policies are over the insurance or over the replacement cost, which is dirt. I'm like, oh my gosh, why are you insuring dirt? So I tell people lots of times, I say, look, if you are military with disability in Utah County, you don't have to pay property taxes. So we're talking about not just what's the best rate, what's the best terms, but what's the best overall payment. And that's what you're buying is, that's what you get with me is the experience to ask those questions or work those issues out. So, and that, I'm like I said, I haven't really figured out the exact pitch for the second opinion, but I always tell them, look, these are things that we can help you accomplish here. So anyway, so
did she have anything else that she does?
She does professional work we're doing and the campaigns. A couple other big things for her was follow up. They constantly do follow ups on everything.
What does that mean? They constantly do follow-ups? They call them, they email them, they.
Cassandra talks about both and stuff, just staying in touch constantly. No matter what they are, if they're realtors or clients or past clients, just constantly staying in touch with them. And then the seasonal stuff like we're trying to set up and stuff. So that was her big points, and everything else was about her. What she actually does for Cassandra and stuff. But I mean, for her sister, yeah. Those are her big things. Is like that Popeyes, follow-ups, and then all the stuff we're already doing, the campaigns and perpetuals.
Okay.
And the seasonals.
so is she big top of mind, doing top of mind?
Oh, yeah.
So where we at for, we got to be constantly adding more people in top of mind, or see the Bite will take whatever what you put in Bite and put in top of mind. But if you got people that, so like yesterday, I got 3 new referrals. I got one was from a realtor. Though I was on the phone with them, I was asking her for referrals here. And you guys heard my reticulation script, right? About, so I always tell them, I say, look, reticulation is when you do something big. It's what you just think about all the time. You happen to notice other people doing it because you're always thinking about it. So like prior to adopting, I didn't even know a single soul ever adopted. And I was like, hey, I adopted some kids. I adopted my first child. And I was like, oh, I'm adopted. My mom's adopted my brother's, kids. And, all of a sudden everybody's adopted there. So I go out and buy this, gray van. all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, there's all these gray vans on it. Whatever you do that's big, whether it's adopt, buy a house, buy a car, build, you just know. I mean, I remember going to the grocery store and I saw these people like, I heard her talking and she was pregnant with twins. And they're like, everybody has me like pregnant with twins. And I'm like, no, it's just, and I walked past and talked to her or anything, but I thought, you know, it's not that there's more people giving birth to twins, is she's doing this big thing in her life and she's aware of it. So I told him, I said, you're going to be doing this alone. You're going to be aware of all kinds of people doing it. She goes, oh yeah, I have this kind of adopted child, friend of the family. He's in China and he wants to move to Utah and, you know, buy a house. So he's transitioning back. So while I was talking to him, you want to always ask the people you're working with, hey, you're going to go through this. And, you know, it may happen immediately. They're already going through it here. So it's a great way of asking for referrals and blowing up your pipeline as well.
Yeah. Just one more thing for me, as far as corporate goes, if you see anything else for Randy, minimum reduction is 2 loans a month. We have to get there per person. So, you know, we have all these suggestions, maybe implementing everything that we're talking about and doing to make sure that we're following through so that we can result in 2 loans a month. And you think, oh my gosh, it should be that hard to get 2 loans a month, but the market has obviously come to a standstill right now. So, we just have to keep plugging away, but that is, you know, what we need to be striving for. And of course, we want to be over 2 loans a month, especially now with our tier system. So anyway, that's.
Those Randy, our suggestions.
You know, so I emailed him about what you asked, because yesterday Jerry asked, you know, do they have like a coaching program or something? Because Randy says, you know, we want the 2 loans a month, but he's not saying how they're going to help us get there. So he emailed me back and he said, no, not at this time. We have that pilot program that we had talked about, but it's not open to everybody yet. So he said it's just a good old fashioned way going out there and getting the business. Yeah.
No answer.
Yeah, no answer. Yeah. So.
Yeah, figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
So give me
Yeah.
relationship.
So.
Oh no, yeah, I've noticed that, but unfortunately you can't.
That's, well, from corporate side, they're gonna say, you have insurance, you have different, I mean, you have an office there, that's not, I'm not going up to a man, but the perspective is gonna be. We
You're
provide.
giving us the tools to go out there and do it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, roof over your head, and it's kind of like your kids are like, well, you don't give me no allowance, so you're not giving me anything, Dad. It's like, other than the food I let you eat, and the house I let you stay in, and the clothes I get, so I think that's the,
Yeah.
and it's,
But like if you're a fisherman's son, and you don't teach them how to fish, I mean,
Right.
we can argue either way.
If you'd like, if you want to describe to the group what we did, I can show the screen share for the recording, right? So that way you guys don't have to crowd around his phone and you guys can see the recording later. We can also do the same thing with the first time home buyer stuff, right? If you'd like, because we're talking about the coaching and whatnot, that this will be a good thing if you'd like, because it's the Blue Falcon and stuff. I think it's solid stuff.
Your Blue Falcon, go.
Essentially, we just set up. We're taking my personal Facebook page, and we're going to turn that into a page for honing on veterans, helping veterans, because that's near and dear to my heart. And then we're going to set up a page or another page that is like a broad source about Blue Falcons. And those of you that haven't been in the military don't know what Blue Falcon is. It's more or less a buddy fucker. Someone that you trust should be taking care of you, but you're late formation or something, and you're standing out there and sergeant's like, hey, where are you at? And everyone's like, oh, he's at Dennis, he's at Dennis, at Dennis. Oh, he came in drunk last night. That's your guy that's not taking care of you. So this is a broad spectrum of which the ideal is to draw in people who's have a common interest from military background. And then we talk about like Wells Fargo, how they create accounts or different aspects throughout the world. From there, we'll set up a little funneling system to take them over to another page that's set up for how to avoid Blue Falcons or strategy, how to structure your life. So if you got people via loan center turning loans for veterans, well, let's talk to veterans, educate them about how they don't have to go that route. It's not a best ideal for long term. And so we're just providing more information. And then we can pick and choose from those pages, go to the veteran page to do loans. And the ideal is we'll get people that don't already have VA loans. They're just more included to the ideology of Blue Cross.
That's cool.
Refinancing and screwing yourself because you're doing it every 2 years.
Right. Or you're getting an FHA loan, or really you should be getting into a conventional loan. It's not good for the loan officer, but
You might not need a
it's,
VA loan.
you probably don't need a VA loan if you're planning on moving or, staying in the house to your kids or graduating high school. So,
Okay,
what?
cool.
for all this stuff.
And I'm seeing too, you know how the interest rate went up, all of a sudden, we had like 4 or 5 deals that were supposed to go through that week, and then everybody canceled.
Okay.
And then the interest rates went down a little bit.
Right.
And I was just asking different places, different lending groups, banks, credit unions, what are you seeing then, what's coming in?
So
And they said they're still getting quite a few people where they're trying to pay off debt, and they don't care that the interest rate's 2% higher than they have. And most lenders will be like, this is crazy, it's not a good opportunity for what you're seeing right now for long term. But they said they're getting like 30-40% of their loans are that way right now.
See, that's one thing.
But those are more banks and credit unions. But still, if you're reaching out to those people as
They're
well,
accumulating so much debt, they just want to get out.
Yeah.
Use the equity that's been there, get out of debt.
Well, the payments are still smaller in the aggregate.
or even the payment's higher than what their loan is right now, but it's paying off the debt.
Yeah, but
I guess
Your monthly payment goes down.
Your car's paid off,
the other stuff goes down, but your house
four-wheeler's paid
Yes.
off.
But your monthly output goes down.
goes
Fifth
down.
wheeler's
Correct.
paid off.
So they're doing cash out refis.
Okay, yeah. At a higher interest rate.
Well, I just had a call from somebody that has a lever arm, 1-year lever arm, and he's gonna adjust here in 6 months, probably to like 5.5. So he's like, yeah,
Lock in now.
right, refinance at, 4 7/8 or 5 1/8, whatever it was, and get out of the, not take the chance. So there's that whole group out there too.
Well, and it's very interesting as well, and it happened to me, and I'm looking, I'll do it, I'm not at the spot just yet. But a lot of people get the 30-year loan, right?
Yeah.
And they've got a lower payment, and then they build up that equity in their house. And it's like, well, I could refinance or get a little bit of money out or anything that way. But they don't think, well, maybe I want to refinance and do a 10-year or 15. My payment's higher, but you're actually saving money in the long term because of what you're paying.
The only problem with that right now, because I just went through this with this guy a few minutes ago, is that 15 years only like a quarter less in rate.
Right.
So the payment's like significantly higher.
DTI.
It's like
But does it make a
$100 a month
difference paying
higher.
it off faster versus keeping it for 30? You're
Just
paying
pay
an
for it.
It
extra.
depends on the person as far as what the payment shock, if they can even afford a 15-year. What I always tell them is, now what the difference is. So if you have $500 a month, put it down on your principal. When you make your payment, it's going to do the same thing, but at least you have the comfort level of the lower payment of the year. Unless you get somebody that's, obviously very well qualified and can afford a 15-year payment. But with the rates, it's not making a lot of sense, I don't think. I don't know.
I have a guy that refinanced last month that did that, went to a 15-year, and the value to him was, I'm chopping 8 years off my loan.
Right.
Because we looked at it and said, you can throw that extra money at it, but it wouldn't have got it paid off as fast. And so he was like, nah, by the time I'm X number of years old, my house is paid off. That was more valuable. So he ate the $300 a month to over 15. So if they see the value and that's their goal, great.
Yeah.
I would go like, nah, I want the flexibility. And like I said, I'll just throw $300 at it each month.
Right. I mean, it used to be a huge spread between 15 and 30.
Yeah.
Where it only made sense.
I guess that's what I'm asking is saving that time period, I guess, let's say 10 years off or whatever. And you're paying your lower interest rate, but what is that difference of the money value?
Right.
How much are you saving?
It's
No,
a
I
savings
see
in
your
time.
point.
is what
In
you're
time
asking,
is
yeah.
what I'm asking.
Yeah.
If you pay that just the interest for that next 10 years versus paying more money down, even though but you're getting equity.
Yeah.
The other's just going out the door.
This guy,
Right.
So how much
the
are
other
you
thing is,
saving?
He goes, yeah, I'll throw some money at it, but then I'll have to do it. So wanted that
Discipline.
discipline.
Yeah.
And that's right. And once he said that, I'm like, okay. So then when he was like, I'm not sure, I said, If you think you can make the payments yourself, then do it. If your goal is to pay it off and want to be locked in, so it was a conscious decision on his part, his goal.
Yeah.
You gotta still be safe, even if it's the same interest rate. If, and I know you're building the equity up, but if you're paying that in a 10 or 15-year period, if you're for another 30 years, that's how many more years that you're paying interest, even if it is a little bit lower because your house payment is lower on the interest rate. It's gotta be something like 5 years of interest that you're
Oh,
paying.
no, absolutely.
Yeah. Is it 8? So do you guys know on top of that usually is like on a 300?
Yeah, I can run math for you after this.
So I'm just talking to people, and a lot of people don't realize that, and they're like, "Oh, I still have 100,000 equity in my house, and it's a 30-year, have a lower payment." And then they're sitting there going, "Oh, I could actually pay it off faster, and I'm saving money in the long run." Yeah. And there's quite a bit of people out there who don't understand that.
Right. And I think that's a good option for some people.
Yeah, for sure.
If they can afford the extra.
People don't need to buy, sell, and refinance. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So last week we decided that what we're going to do is we're going to do group pages. There's a person that I worked with by the name of Paul Carlin, and he worked for Bank of America, which doesn't have a physical location, so it works out of his house. But he put together
the worst of all worlds.
Yeah, that's right. Who wouldn't want that? So, what did I say?
Keep going.
Oh. Anyway, so he put together a group pages called Utah Real Estate for Home for Rent. And he has, I think, 26,000 people on his site. And he's constantly going in and saying, this is not a garage sale. Don't sell your crap on this thing here. But he has tons of people who come in and posting. He's got basically 4 groups. Renters, people like, I need to find a place at the dock, an American Fork for this much. Anyone know about it? You got other ones like, well, landlord, I'm renting out my place. Then he's got realtors like, hey, I got this house for sale, blah, blah, and lenders as well. I would do these loans, zero down VA loans. And then he's got pages that people will flash on there and go, hey, I'm moving from Texas to Utah. I need to buy a house and so yeah. So he's got kind of all those. So we decided that what we want to do is we're going to build 5 group pages. So we've got, so the one I've got is Elegant Homes. Oh no, it's Utah Elegant Homes. What I want to do is appeal to the higher end of these things. So we're just going to go specific. And then Jerry wants to do VA. Debbie wants to do tribal loans. Troy's going to do first-time home buyers, right?
I think so.
Yeah. And then we also have move-up home buyers. Then what we like to do is do the same thing. Get just big numbers of people in there. Then what we want to do is want to have basically all 5 of those for Jerry, all 5 of those for Debbie, all 5 of those for Will, and do that here. So these are just these group pages where people will go onto. So we've already started. Yeah. Say again.
I accepted your invitation.
Thank you. Well, so rejected. Well, so what we're going to do is we're going to make all of you guys administrators, so you guys can answer. So if for any reason something pops up there and I'm not around, you can turn around and go, "Oh, hey, this is someone's asked a question, Dr. Lowe or something like that here." So, so the idea is to have these pages. It seems like a great idea, and the one thing I noticed here, besides Paul Carlin, no one's out there doing this, and this would be just kind of no-brainer to just kind of.
Quick point. When we were doing the Blue Falcon thing,
Yes.
and we're trying to get a little bit more context, Facebook had no data about it. Now, which is a good thing, right? Because there's no data, it means that there wasn't somebody who stood up and said something. But so far, I Blue Falcon was the first time. Today was the first time I've heard Blue Falcon in the context of military. I thought it was hilarious, right? And everybody who's a veteran is like, oh yeah, they all smile, stuff like that. So, and then we even Googled it. Right now, the thing with Google is that if you just take a few words and slap them together, Google's going to try and search for each and every individual word and come up with the most relevant context they can come up with. So when we did the test and search for Blue Falcon, the military term that you all guys understand, that's what Google came up with the most broadest information. So I was like, this is really good, because what it means is that Jerry says hey, I identify with the veterans. It's very close to me. It's personal. Like, I mean, if someone messages me about the VA loan stuff, I'm gonna be all over it. And that's all social media is meant to do, is just give you a quick bridge to break down some barriers. And the whole reason why we made the page was just so that it could be a cathartic thing for like, you know, oh yeah, I hate those Blue Falcons. And then so what the page tells Jerry is that this is definitely who you're dealing with and no one else. So whatever you do, don't be a Blue Falcon to these people. Be the opposite. So then you go, okay, here's we're just talking smack about these guys, but then if you go join this group is all about how to avoid those Blue Falcons and be able to get the VA benefits that you want without getting stabbed in the neck and be like, that was delicious, right? so yeah, but do you see what's happening here? We're all recognizing it going, oh yeah, but the one piece that people are forgetting is the human element. They just want to do that whole Ronco crap of set and forget. No. This bridges a gap, so you have to lean in and say, so you have to have I totally.
You have to be able to reach back out.
Exactly. Which means you have to be passionate about what you're doing, or else it's not worth doing. So that's why we had to sit down and say.
You could do it for the veterans. You could do it for anybody.
Exactly. So we had to have a conceptual conversation first before we did any of the tech, because the tech is super easy.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not willing to back up what you're saying, then you're just giving yourself a whole bunch of issues 6 months from now. So that's why we did it like we did, so that we could create a funnel that gave people a reason to say, this is who I am, and this is you know what I'm all about. And then he can come in with the correct way and say, yeah, I'm sure you've probably been pretty bitter because people just keep running you over the rails. This is a place where you can be safe. And then you just have that constant referral coming to you over and over again.
So is he going to do the Blue Falcon financially to say like, hey, Wells Fargo, when they set up a whole bunch of accounts for people,
here's the reason why I made it here is that the recording, I wanted to make sure that while he was talking about it, the recording showed the screen share. So when we go back and watch, where anybody else watches, or we use this bit for advertising to recruit, right? Production first and marketing later. Mm-hmm. So later on, people are like, oh yeah. So like when Jerry was talking about it, I was actually on Facebook, and you can see the page, and you can see the group as he was talking about it. So viewers get a better context than us right now. So it'd actually be a good idea if you guys wanted to watch that particular segment of this, so you could see that. But now I don't need to do any of that producer stuff, so I can actually come in here and talk to you guys. Excellent. But that came from the conversation because you and I sat down last night and hammered out all the details for the Elegant Home Buyers and the hangout that we're going to be doing next week that you're using for training and getting recruits. And like, well, what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about this stuff that we're already doing, and that just brings more people. They're like, yeah, I want to do this. So what ends up happening? You said you can't understand the whole binge watch thing. Well, binge watching comes from faithful fans, people who are really into it, which is why I said we should bring this up again, right? Right. Because this, we are marketing to these people when we produce the hangout next week. All these people who were fired. And they're just like, but I still want to be a mortgage guy.
So Evergreen Movement and Axia have laid off as far as loan officers.
Yeah, so next week we're doing a hangout. In fact, what the screen share is on right now is a Facebook event that says October 29th at noon. There's going to be a live broadcast. I mean, again, we took all the conceptual stuff and then we created the presence that we wanted, and then we applied the technical stuff. So it looks really, really cool, but it's really easy. The tough stuff is the conceptual stuff, right? So once we did that, then I just plugged everything in, and it looks really cool. It's got the background of your magic stuff, and it says coming up in 6 days. There's a link to your website. There's a chat box on the right. People can literally start talking into the chat box right now, today, and you could answer those questions during the live broadcast. And what we're also going to do is, I mentioned it in a text message. I said, do you have a segment of your email list, of this 40,000 email list that you got? Oh, yeah. Do you have a segment that's dedicated to realtors? I'm sure that's a yes. So we're going to take today, by the end of the day, we're going to take that and we're going to upload it into Facebook, because what it's going to do is we're going to send all those invites organically for free to those people. And then the ads is what the ads are going to do is find people exactly like those people, except you just never met those. And that's where the ads are going to go. So all of your natural traffic is going to go straight to that event. And then what we're going to pay for is a bunch of brand new people who are going to go to that event.
Nice. I like it.
All right. So like I said, it's like a circus tent, Trace. It doesn't make sense, but you're putting all these pieces together, and then you have a meeting like today, and we go, and then up goes the circus tent. Name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Right.
We're not second meeting. This
Right.
is
I know
just,
this one is true.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I hope you are.
Right. All right, yeah, go ahead.
So, you know, we're always trying to grab new and different marketing things like you're talking about.
Right.
So, we've talked many different ways of doing things, and some are successful, but it is specifically for each person. And like a loan, you can pretty much get the same thing any place that you go, but it comes down to what you guys are saying. If I know that loan better, or if I know different aspects that other people don't know, like I'll just bring
User experience.
reverse mortgages.
Okay.
They think, oh, reverse mortgage, 50%, no payment. That you're gonna, but it's one of the things you do. Well, you might be able to go in there and say, well, actually, I can go in and do a jumbo, and it doesn't matter. It can go over the 650. Or I know people that are just wanting to get $300,000 out of their $1 million home and not do 50-50, and they want to do cash out refi type scenario of reverse, or do a payment with the 50-50 because I'm 62 and I'm going to work till I'm 75, and I could actually get interest of 5 to 7%. I mean, there's so many different aspects, and if I went and asked somebody about a reverse mortgage, they wouldn't know those things.
Correct.
So going out and doing that, that's what makes you different from somebody else, right? So they're going to get the same interest rate. They're going to get the same amount of money out and all that. So one part that I was like, oh, we got to do, I was really good with LinkedIn and doing the social media. I've got a lot of followers. And then like 6 months ago, I just kind of stopped once in a while. And it was because I couldn't find enough good information to keep posting.
All right.
That was my reason.
Content.
Still getting people wanting to join and still get contacts, and we go, yeah, but I'm not saying enough. And then I've never been much of a Facebook person because it's more personal, and I feel like a lot of people lie. It's only the good stuff, not the bad. And I was like, yeah, but you can utilize and show people that you're more personal. We talked about this before, but not just that. Let's give them some definite information.
Yeah.
So I went on and I was like, I've got to really kill it again. So I did a little bit with LinkedIn. That's my next step. But I did Facebook huge. And I have some different title companies on there, a mixture of all this business. But then I have a lot of clients that they're just looking for loans and builders. I mean, it's all sorts of stuff. So I just went on there and started posting different projects that I recently just got, different names, shooting names out there that people were like, oh, I definitely know them. I didn't know you were working with them.
Yeah.
And then different organizations, and then getting onto their actual Facebook, where now they're actually marketing me. And then so I've done that, and it's really days this week or last week, nonstop, and really pumped it up, getting a lot of responses back, and then throwing in little clips. The thing that I can do, I can co-market with you guys online as long as it doesn't cost anything. So I can actually go on there and say, oh, I went to your guys' sales meeting and have a picture of us.
Yeah, that's what I'm at. That's why I keep going, saying, bring people in, we'll do the hangouts.
But I cannot go on to, let's say it's Zillow and I have to pay $50 a month. I can't put you on there with me. It's the same thing as,
Okay, that's totally fine, because I think that that marketing is ineffective, which is why I'm not using it. But all the stuff that you're like, oh yeah, I'll totally do that. Yeah.
So is there a
That's
way
plus some, right?
that I can grab it and we can show the web, your guys' logo, and then I have one with each one of you, but it's specific on that loan.
Yeah. So
If we could do that, I guarantee my followers, and you'd have somebody. It's already happened where a builder is going out there and it has nothing to do with his building.
Yeah,
so it's like, oh, my mom is looking for that. I didn't know they were specialized.
So here's what we need to do. I did this last night with Trace. I did it this morning with Jerry. You and I just need to sit, and we're going to be doing it tomorrow with Debbie and Troy. So now that we have the process already hammered out, that's what me and Trace have been doing. All I need to do is just, you tell me a time where you can come here, or I can go to your office or wherever, and we have a sit down and have a the conceptual discussion like I had with Jerry, and then all of the technical stuff happens in like a 20-minute burst, and then it's done, and then that's just the system, and it just keeps going, right? But we'll need a couple of hours to talk this out conceptually, so I understand what you've been doing and how we can connect. And once we do, we'll take all the technical bits, we'll create them right then and there, and then I'll say, this is what we're doing, and this is window dressing, this is what I'll do, and this is your involvement. It'll take a couple of hours, but once we're done, it'll be a thing that you know is a thing that you don't have to worry about anymore. You know your marching orders, we know ours, and then it just keeps getting done. Because I'm like, what I was telling Trace is that he keeps bringing people in, having these high trust conversations and stuff like that. And he keeps doing these presentations, these one-to-one presentations. And I'm saying, no, we need to create this almost 3D rendered holographic image of you that's always out there online and is saying and doing the same stuff that they already do. Like you said, you went out and you busted your hump for 3 days. Well, I want to get to the point where that digital version of you is working 24/7 and is doing not just bringing people in, but is pushing the wrong people away. Right. So that, again, 2 or 3 hours, we'll get it knocked out and it'll be done. And then we'll have that version of you that's always out there.
Can you?
But there's that quote about interest that it never sleeps, doesn't get hungry, doesn't take vacation, doesn't take holidays, doesn't take time
exactly.
off.
And then the
But
stuff that
technology
you don't want
is the
is the
same way.
stuff we need, right?
And technology is the same way. It won't. The idea is there's no one who's going to say the thing you say better than you. It's this online virtual assistant that will always be out there working, always be, So if you got some fireman at 2 a.m, goes into the drill, comes in, sits down to social media and sees your stuff, while you're in bed, that's the idea.
I had it this morning.
Yeah.
I had, how you go live on
Yeah.
on it,
Exactly.
right? 7:00 live. A mission companion I haven't heard for like 10 years, and then I didn't hear from 10 years before that.
Yeah.
And he's a lender, but he's like, I'm only doing all right. Can I pick your brain, or can I see what
Where's he
you're
at?
doing? Harriman.
Oh.
So we're gonna go to breakfast, and we just got the whole thing down. And I'd be looking for another spot.
Well, see, and
Or
that's
is he's
you-
trying to
yeah.
specialize, or
Yeah.
he just doesn't have leadership. That's what he needs to talk to me about. But
Yeah.
it's all because he saw what are the things he's posting.
Mhm.
Does he really know about the billing? Does he know about loan? And so my ad last night that I did, you guys can go see it, but it's an article on everything's changing right now in real estate.
Yep.
How do you keep those buyers and sellers? How do you keep your clients? It's not your real estate agents, everybody else. It's your clients that are coming in to get your loan. And their answer was pretty much you're doing the same thing, but this is a little bit different way of doing it. Well, that's different than you're going to see from a regular real estate agent or somebody else posting.
Exactly. Now, Trace, do you
So-
see how stuff we're talking about today is going to be something that you mention in the hangout next week when we're trying to pull stuff? It's like, what do we talk about? All the stuff we did last week, because the stuff we're talking about right now is like, that's all the catnip that all the people who want to stay in the industry, like what got your friends to respond was you saying this is how the industry is changing, and you just start talking about stuff that you already know is resonating with the market. But the information is always the same, right? It's the same loan, it's the same everything. But what it comes down to is user experience, your interaction, your personal interaction with these people, and that's what they're buying. When everybody else is exactly the same, they start looking at your personality and how the experience will be. That's what we're selling now, is the experience of the loan process, nothing else, because everyone else can compete to a cutthroat level on that. So you step out and you say, this is who I am, and I want to connect with you on a human level. That's where people lose their mind in social media.
And what I hit on, so the article, but I put some stuff down, it's the knowledge that's changing, okay?
Nice,
So,
very
but
nice.
nothing else was. It's still trust, it's still loyalty, and it's still that, they're doing their biggest investment, right? It's the trust and knowing that you're telling them the truth. So I put down trust and truth, but it's the knowledge that's changing.
Sort of. Look, there's another dimension that's coming to this, and it's the millennials. These guys saw their mom, in 2008, 10 years ago, a lot of these guys were, 12, 13 years old. They saw their mom and dad get hosed in real estate. They got hosed by a financial planner. They got hosed by an insurance guy. And so these guys, when they go out and they meet, Bob's selling a car, they're Googling Bob right there.
100%.
And they're checking him out. They want to know who Bob is. And so you have these millennial, the new swath of buyers will be the millennial shoppers. Okay. But
it's happening right now.
Oh, no, for sure.
Millennials and the older people.
Right. But everybody, I'm hearing this over and over. You have to figure out how to connect with the millennials. Okay. The question is how, because the millennials saw, what I did for 25 years? It was when people like and trust you. They, why are you buying a house straight? We just like him. He's sure trustworthy. What's how much it costs? Don't know. We like and trust him. We're just doing it because we like and trust him. These guys, no. That when everyone got hosed, they threw like and trust out the window. They still need to make that transition to like and trust.
Yeah.
The question is,
that's what I'm saying.
Right. So but transition to like and trust is different now.
And I agree with that. So let's talk lead generation. all these realtors are out there and they're going to Zillow, realtor.com, all that, and they're paying this money and these leads come in, right? And the average of getting a deal is 3 to 4% of the deals they get in.
Oh yeah.
And so they're paying money and they're paying money and they're getting those guys. Now,
Zillow goes to them,
ones-
takes their stuff and sells back to them.
yeah, it's the first one in that area. Or let's say I go to 5 zip codes and I'm the same guy, you're going to get 5 different realtors in those zip codes. So this is where it is. It's what you're talking about. The guys that really know what they're doing, and I sit down with them, they're not really even doing that. What they're doing is they're going on Google or other places and their names are popping up. They're paying for the difference to get their name. So now they see them number 1, number 2, number 3, and they're doing what you're talking about. You have to be on LinkedIn. You have to be on Facebook and all these other ones because they're researching you for that trust. They want to know, is he really a real estate agent? Does he really do 5 deals a month? Or does he really specialize in this? And so once they research that,
BS meter now.
once they research that, then they're calling you and texting you. The way on these other generation leads, they don't even know who you are. They're asking you to call them. And then that's why you trust and all that stuff. It's like, this could be some kid who's 18 years old calling me and I don't even know if he knows what he's doing. I better go back and research him. And then they never call back or you're not following through.
Yeah, you're better off to have them call you over versus you call them.
I totally agree with that.
Because once they call you, they're I would say they're halfway home to like and trust. And I think I think the secret sauce is going to be in step 1. They have to call you. If they'll call you. Now, the reason I like LinkedIn, I used to hate LinkedIn because this big fat recruiting thing. I put some out on LinkedIn. I get like 5 calls. Hey, you got to come more from me. I'm like, oh, gee whiz. But then I found out that LinkedIn is kind of a pure source. It's because it's not corrupted and there's no spam or doo-doo in there, that it has this high. So when I put stuff out on LinkedIn, it's my resume builder. If I go out there and go, hey, I do tribal loans, I all of a sudden I start getting calls.
I would say it's now as I see it, I think you implement LinkedIn after you've set your base up. Right? Like we've got the Facebook pages and the groups and things like that. Then we add the layer of LinkedIn because again, as they're investigating, we want them to investigate because we spent all this time building all this framework and stuff like that. The more they investigate, the more they're just going to get sucked in.
Right.
So with Tree and the Blue Falcons, I mean, it was such an easy hook, dude. And there's so much information right there.
And I love having other people from the same industry on there.
Right.
Because they'll go in there and see one title company is just a picture and they say a little something and it's like,
they're retarded.
It's not giving it. And then they read yours and they're like, holy crap, this guy knows what he's doing.
And our
I'm in a blog with them.
My approach is to move forward with such intensity that even if somebody wants to compete with me, they're just like, there's no way I can. I might as well just join them.
So is there any way?
Now, hold on. What he said was I was going to segue into what you were doing here. Okay. One of the things that we're going to do with this is we're going to offer, hey, you want to have a matching, we planted this flag, we built this castle, and we have a garrison of marketing forces out there. And if you want that same, offensive, defensive castle, with the flag and a moat and all this other stuff, hey, come over here. We'll build it with you here. But
like when she's like, do we have any coaching with Gateway? It's like, well, yeah, me.
Well, there's
sit down with you and go,
2 things that I want to do. So, moving over here, I negotiated a lot of different things most people aren't doing. And so one is our company's got an all right web page, but they need to get way more into LinkedIn. And so I was just talking to my boss, and there's 3 people, but we have a girl there that's there now during her office hours. She's got plenty of time to do it, and so we're giving her that assignment. But I want to be able to push it and hit it out there. And so I've got some marketing dollars. If that's what you want to do, I would have you come up and meet with the group. And then work something out with them, and then you can help them on that side. My stuff that I'm trying to do is I already have those leads to contacts. I already got a lot of trust. Or we just had our 20-year reunion, and there was 200 people there, and they're like, oh, what's Justin doing? And they're on there, right? They're looking for loans. They're looking for this. What I was looking for is you're specializing in tribal. Let's say that's all we're showing. I'm looking at it as, and you're already setting that up with him. Can you just send that to me? And it looks like a real post, not I like, or I put a comment on it. I just want you to send it to me, and then
Yeah.
I'm in there with you saying, I endorse this person. Or if you're looking for this loan, hit this site.
Yeah. So like I said, we need to just have one meeting where I can look at what you're doing and figure out the best ways to plug it in.
Let me show you real quick.
Because yes, I can do that, but I can't do it without some discovery time. I can't. You can't just be like, hey, can you send me this stuff? The answer is no. I can't do that yet, but I can very quickly get to that point. But there's just got, like I said, I need to sit down. Like the best thing is for me to come up to where you're at, and we just hammer it out for a couple of hours. Mostly logistical stuff, like you said. You're on here, you're over here, you're over here. I just want to push this way, that way, whatever. All right, cool. We just need to have that conceptual discussion, preferably with you said there's a gal that just has plenty of time to do that stuff. Okay, if she's going to be the labor force for that, then obviously, like when we have it all set up, and
it's two different things.
And I
business,
right,
it's personal.
Okay, so I send stuff to you, right? But more than likely, it's going to end up on her plate, and then she does stuff, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So again, we just need some logistical discussion.
So let me show you. This is what I'm thinking. So I go onto this site, right? And I hit it so it looks like it's my ad, but it's professional.
Yeah. Yep.
So here's that. This will be the ad. But
Mhm.
then I went in and talked about it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I'm looking at it saying, can this show a picture of Trace? Says Gateway right there. And
Yes.
then it says that's your specialty. Up here, I'm saying I
And,
endorse you guys. If you want
And
to
that's-
learn about tribal and you guys are part of an Indian group, you got to hit
Yeah.
this. It's knowledge.
Yeah.
And now it goes to all of them, and it looks like an actual ad. Like this is another one. This is my project down in Spanish.
Yeah.
We finally got it
That looks
done.
familiar.
And there's 9 units.
Okay.
I just went on there, hit the link, and then started
Okay.
talking about it and said, now we finally have
Okay.
a
Then
project in
then to
Spanish.
answer your question specifically, that is very simple to do. Yeah.
This is the best one. So this is one of the big projects. We finally executed the contract, got the money down, and I just went in there and said, thank you. Or I was working on this with United and
Yep.
Zenith Group, and we finally landed MacArthur, and this is what we're doing.
Very
And
nice.
then we're
Yes,
working
yes.
with them as title, and then I have a picture of the actual site in the breakout. And that hits it instead of going in there and saying, I'm looking for 2 more builders.
Right.
So I'll do that eventually or every other day. But I have 2 more listings of new projects. It just all of a sudden came that I've been working on for a year.
Yeah.
I didn't put the other 2. I wanted to
Yeah.
wait a day because I don't want to show 4 projects.
Yeah, and I was explaining to Jerry the same thing. I said, there's just going to come a point where you're just going to need to be strategic in your sharing and your
For a personal one,
Yeah.
and 2
Because
businesses.
yes, there's going to be this gigantic marketing machine behind us and stuff like that, but there still is required a little bit of human involvement. That's why I say strategic sharing, where you go, okay, what one post that like we could even turn it into a kind of a game, like instead of the opposite of it's like, well, you have to do all these posts. Let's flip the script. Okay, now you're only allowed to do 3 posts, no matter how excited you are about it. What's the most strategic thing? And when again we have the conceptual discussion when we map it all out. So I go, here you are at the top of the web. So if you come over here and you have this thing and you go, bing, what will that do? Right. So again, you have the strategic posts, and then the marketing machine just bolsters it. Right. So that again is the main point. So when can you and I sit down, or me come up there, or
we
whatever?
like Monday, and then I'll set up your appointment with those guys.
Okay.
This is the other one I want to
Can
show
we do
you.
it Tuesday? Because
We can do Tuesday on
perfect.
the same,
Okay.
or I can come down here since I'm always down here.
Even better.
So let me show you this. So you go on the things that you like or organizations that
Right,
you want to be
right.
a part of. So I'm on the Salt Lake Home Builders Association.
Nice.
I
Okay.
want to do it. I saw this site and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not on there. Look at this. You start going down and they've got their articles and everything. So they have this where you know how you have your likes and it's like, do you know John Doe? Look at this. Larry Myers, Edge Homes, Walker Homes, and you have Jacob Homes, and you have to hit like, and it just has a picture there.
Mm-hmm.
They've got 50 builders. Why are only 4 or 5? Because nobody's gone to their site to say, and I'm not meaning you can get it from the site. You got to call somebody at the HBA and they'd like
I'm sorry,
it.
this is for who?
Home builders.
Okay.
I'm sorry,
Trace,
Utah County or what?
Salt Lake.
Yeah.
But
So here's what I'm discovering, Chase, is all this functionality that he's pointing out. When I was messing around with Facebook, it didn't exist. I had to create third-party software that sometimes plugged into Facebook. But now Facebook's like, we don't want your third-party stuff. We've already got built in-house.
Right.
There is so much functionality. I'm like, oh, that exists inside Facebook. I mean,
So-
we're talking
so
about,
now-
we're talking
so, okay.
about projects that required me to do 3 months of lead work
Right.
just to see if it could work on Facebook. And now, like you said, we're past that first 5 years.
Right.
And now, and so now
Now ride the wave.
all those third-party developers are like, oh, I don't like Facebook anymore because Facebook closed them all off. But now people like me who just want to use the platform to market, like there are so many people who are just doing this on accident that they don't really realize. Like again,
Well, then let's start the
Yeah,
clock
so-
over.
yeah.
Let's start the 10-year now,
yes.
and let's double down
So
and
there
relight
are
Facebook.
so many pieces of technology that I didn't even knew existed in Facebook that I wish did that now do.
Great.
That
See,
other
that's-
people are just are unaware of. So there's
What we need to do is nerd out
Yeah.
on Facebook and kind of figure out
exactly
whatever.
because he's like, oh yeah, you can do this and you can like this and you can
find
add
it.
these things that are like,
Yeah.
holy crap,
There-
this is all function. These are all things that I have.
So
to
how do you
pay
get
for.
into this year?
I just looked up home builders and
No,
it got
no,
on
no.
there.
But how do you get to be one of these things?
I'm
Can
gonna
you-
have to call them as
Yeah,
a board
and
member
Tra-
and go in
Trace-
and say,
so what's going to
on
happen?
your related pages,
Will you add me
Yeah,
in?
yeah, we're
We
just
add
yeah,
me
like I
in.
said, we're gonna nerd out, but all the stuff we're already doing. We've already made a bunch of pages. We've already made a bunch of groups, and we're just gonna keep playing with it until we go. This is the best way we're gonna leverage page, group, landing page, etc.
Okay,
now they have something, and I'm not
Just don't-
finding it. I don't know where it
that's
was.
fine.
But there's one on here.
When we did the seminars, we advertised, I think, it's been $100. And the 3 seminars that we did, we had 2 families at each seminar. I'm like, so how'd you hear about us? And they said, well, Facebook recommended it. And I'm like, Mr. Facebook or Mrs. Facebook? And they were like, well, so we were renting and we knew that, oh, hey, we were looking at different rental things and it popped up and said, would you like to go to a seminar on first-time home buyers? And I was like, really? And I'm like, yeah. So 2 different seminars, 2 different people, so 4 people there, 4 buying units that we would not have had spending $100 advertising on Facebook. So
Right, and that's what we.
there's
There's this
super
big.
spooky that Facebook is going.
No, but here's the thing about it. Facebook used to have all this stuff you could do for just like do it here. Then they said we're gonna charge everybody, and everybody's withdrawn. But now people don't realize you can actually do it for
Yeah,
$10,
well,
$50.
yeah,
I mean, you can just
yeah.
spend 100 or whatever.
Well,
But-
yeah. Well, I mean, like you said, like the cycle reset. You know, for it's like, look at how great Facebook's organic traffic is, and Facebook's like, yep. Now we're going to charge you for it. They did the same thing with Netflix. We love Netflix, and then they raised the price $1, and people across the nation started freaking out. Yeah, they lost their mind. But they called it the Netflix model, the binge watch, gotta have it kind of thing. And then you raise it $1, and people complain,
But
but
they
they
still
pay
do it.
$1. Same sort of thing. You know, Facebook, their organic stuff was so great, and then they introduced Facebook Edge Rank, which just looked at it and said, this is more valuable than this, so that's why you're being charged for this. But then everyone goes, I don't like it. But you drop $5, and then you get all that organic exposure that you should have had 10 years ago. But it's Facebook's playground. Deal with it.
Well,
You used to be able to do it for free. Now it costs money.
and it's not a lot. They're getting a little bit.
Exactly.
They're gonna get a lot.
Well, yeah.
But
Well, and I think that this is the time to turn around and go, great, because we've kind of found out you for $60 discovery dollars, what we're calling it here. For $60, you can figure out where you can figure out a dollar to client ratio.
yeah, and you go.
It'll
okay,
take you these many dollars to get one client.
Yeah, it used to be free, but now it's going to cost $15 to figure out how much it's going to be $20 to make 2,000.
It's acquisition cost.
Yeah.
What is it gonna cost to get this client? And you go, okay, would you trade $15 to get a guaranteed client? All day long, give me 50 of them, please. So, the acquisition cost might have gone up from $0 to $5. Okay.
See, but then
I have
like
no
these
idea where
home
it
shows that you're
Okay,
talking
well,
about.
I believe it
Where
happened.
was.
But you
Is-
have
you
to
know how I was
show
showing
stuff
you those
like
guys
the
there?
Falcon posted it at the home shows.
There was one
Ah,
that was like,
you know, and
who are
then
my
like,
friends
like
or something like that.
But
And
it's
he
one
hit
way
it,
to distinguish.
and it had like
the
2 or 3
people
builders and
well,
had 4 or 5 associates, and it was going to their Facebook ad of who they were. It's their company one. And I'm like, we have over 600 members because I'm on the members committee, and they're only showing 5. So there's some reason that they're not on there. I think they don't know about it, or the HBA doesn't know how to grab them all because all of them don't have pages. There's something to that extent.
Yeah.
And there's some way that
Members
that's
and
popping
pilots.
up. And then you can say, oh, I like it, or you can make a comment on it. But when you make comment, is it going on their site or is it just yours?
That's a good question. So they're, explain to me the logistics.
If you go to their community,
Right. So they go to their,
and
so
you go
you're
on,
in their group,
you've
right?
got a picture or something, and you want
Right.
to post something on their site,
Right.
and then it says, "Hey, Justin with Capstone posted this on Salt Lake HVA." How do you do that? Because you can make comments on it, but doesn't it just go to your Facebook?
No, it goes into
No,
the group.
Yeah, so if you get an external URL and put it in the group, just like as you were scrolling down, it would say Newswire and New York Times and blah, 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 right? So if you grabbed it from an external site, that's where it's going to take you. But if you grab it from your profile, like if you go my profile and here's the link, and then you post that link, then yeah, it'll send people to your profile because you're grabbing the external link of your profile and putting it in the community. So make sure you go to the external website outside of Facebook, grab that URL, post it in the community. It'll give you the little display, and it'll even show the website URL right there.
Well,
And then,
talk about it.
Yeah.
Because that's totally it. Last thing, I'll give you the date, but I think it's Thursday or Friday. You guys mentioned Paul, you did out in Saratoga. They're doing a Halloween party for all Daybreak, and I think they're just taking Soda Road and just doing the whole thing, and everybody's gonna come in costumes, and
Interesting.
they'll do it. It's something that I'm gonna shoot out there. Let me
Thursday or Friday.
actually call. I'll just get it right now.
Is this Thursday or
But
Friday?
I swear you had to pay for like a ticket or something.
Yeah, the one at Eagle Mountain.
Was free.
Yeah, as a vendor, you just signed up.
Yeah, well, I
signed up, and I was like,
I think the whole trick or treat thing's just going away now. There now it's
Trunk or treat.
It's trunk or treat and candy crawls,
What's candy crawls?
like a bar crawl but with candy.
that's
Okay,
What's a bar crawl?
okay. So a bar crawl is here is a street full of bars.
Bar
You,
hopping.
you start with 1, 2, 3, but you're so drunk you start crawling to number 4.
Bar crawl.
So it's a
that
bar.
is- Yeah.
So now
No,
they
they were called bar hops.
a bar hop.
They were doing it wrong.
Exactly. So now they're just kind of twisting it up and
The
saying,
candy high gets you
Yeah.
the next one.
but now it's the same. It's much more. But what ends up happening is you're getting the vendors involved, and so basically what ends up happening is you've got the beginning of the street and the end of the street is a haunted house. So then you go through and you see all the merchants and stuff, you trick or treat and all that other kind of stuff, and then you go through the haunted house at the end. But the haunted house is actually sort of secretly throughout the entire crawl. It's really, really. I mean, like I look at it and like for years I was just like trunk or treat's dumb, blah blah blah. Trick or treat all the way kind of thing. But I started reading about the candy crawl concept, and I'm like, if I was a kid again, I would be all over that. Because again, you're not just you're with your family, friends, all that other kind of stuff, and it's a better version of trick or treating, if you ask me.
Hot dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta take the boys to a haunted house or a haunted forest or something. So
Well, it's also one of those things when it's like a candy crawl or something like that. The haunted houses, like parents can look at the entire event and go, okay, this is more my speed for my kids. Some of them are more intense. Some of them are just more family friendly kind of thing. But there you go.
nice. Okay.
Make some calls, and then if you want to go to lunch for a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and end the broadcast.
All right. Cool.
Hang on here.